Welcome back all from Romania. I'm currently in Transylvania on what will be about a 2-week road trip with my dad. Jeep parked outside. We've stopped at this little house very near a city centre just so we can spend the day catching up with everything, unwinding, cleaning out the Jeep, and so I can do my podcast. One of my favourite things to do in the week. Thank you as ever, everyone, for continuing to get in touch, sharing your thoughts and opinions. Best place to do so, comment section below. And if you have a longer story, maybe with some pictures, please do continue to email hi@tuesday@dobbs.com. All of your feedback, all of your input, it's gigantically appreciated. It's thanks to all of you that I can do this, so please do continue to do so. We'll start off this week, some very, very unpopular advice. Last week, there was a lovely gentleman called Raul, and he messaged me. He asked that he was going to buy a motorbike from a garage. I think this is in Spain. And he said, the garage has recommended, look, we can say that the bike has been A2 restricted, when really it hasn't. Do you want us to just go ahead and do this? And Raul said, this sounds a little bit fishy. What should I do? And I said, shake the mechanic's hand, take that bike where they say it's A2 restricted, but actually it's not, and ride off into the sunset. That went down extremely badly. So, well, in fact, it went down so badly, both online, with people commenting and also people emailing me saying, Freddie, you have to take this down. It's appalling and also dangerous advice, and you could potentially get sued. So I have taken it down. My appalling advice has been removed, but it's always interesting to read some of the comments. So I will read, as this is a lovely open forum to share opinions, I'll read some of the comments of what people thought of my advice to just ride a motorbike that says it's A2 restricted but isn't. Take a listen to some of this fascinating insight. This is from David. Freddie, personally for me, that's seriously bad advice on your part. Imagine being in a serious accident that wasn't your fault and sustaining life-changing injuries, and then finding out after investigation that you've got no insurance cover, and then you're prosecuted. Taking your advice is as bad as riding with no insurance at all, and I'm shocked, to be honest, that you'd advocate something clearly illegal on the channel just because everyone is doing it. Doesn't make it right. So I'll try and read through these quite quickly because, believe me, there was a huge, almost endless list of people disgusted and furious at this. Next one is Ole. If you decide to do this de-restriction on your bike on an A2 license, my advice would be, do not crash your bike into someone's Ferrari, or worse, hit and cripple a pedestrian. It will probably land you in debt for the rest of your life. Your insurance company may cover it in the first place, but if they find out that your bike's been tampered with, they will come after you. Michael continues, horrendous advice. The rules are there for a reason, and I abhor your encouragement to break the law. That's from Mike. Andrew, yeah, it's illegal, but who's going to find out? Answer everybody. Now you advised Raul to break the law, Freddie. Or you got good insurance, you may need it. Take this vlog down quickly. Next from Matt, I'll just do 3 more. So, Freddie, you've made a serious error of judgment on the A2 advice. Think about a hastily published short with a good old helping of humble pie. One more, win kind. Freddie's attitude to legality is nearly as gobsmacking as his naivety about motorcycles. He should stick to coffee, clothes, and posing. Oh, there are so many. Let me do one more. I'll hear from Tony. Final one. Freddie, sorry, mate, but that advice is shocking. Lost a subscriber. Thought you was better than that. I could go on and on, but so many people sickened by my comments. Raul, I apologise for giving you appalling advice. Whether it's something I would do or not is immaterial. Of course, it's breaking the law. But what we have here is an excellent outcome to this because Raul has read all of the feedback and all of the comments, and I'm delighted to say he's replied. This is from Raul. He left a comment. I made my decision on the restriction of my new bike. I am getting it restricted, not because of the danger, not because of the liabilities, but because in 2 years I will get it de-restricted and I will enjoy a new bike all over again. Going from 15 to 48 horsepower is already a big jump, so I'm saving some for later. Raoul, excellent decision made there. Apologies for my appalling advice, everyone. Thank you so much. And to those people who've unsubscribed, sorry to hear that. You're always welcome back anytime with open arms, I promise you. Now we move on. British craftsmanship. Joss, I had no idea about this. Thank you for this. Freddie, I recently came across Langen motorcycles while trolling for some other item online. The bikes they make are truly amazing. Well worth a look and an explore if you have a moment. Joss, this is brand new for me. Look at this. Okay, I'll put some pics up as I read this. This is on the Langen Motorcycles website, I'm quoting. Exceptional British motorcycles fueled by a passion to combine innovation with emotion. Innovation with emotion. So these are based in Lancashire, British-built bikes. I can't quite understand when they were formed, but it looks like maybe about 2020. They've got 2 models right now, but have a listen to this. One of the 2 models that they've currently got is a 2-stroke. It's like going back to the 1980s, but the one I'm really curious about here is called the LightSpeed. Listen to the ingredients in this. That's an 1190cc V-twin engine. Well, that sounds full of character. It's got 185 horsepower, and it's got a weight of 185 kilograms. So that means it's got a power to weight ratio of 1:1. How incredible is that? Carbon fiber body, that helps a lot. Bespoke Smith's clocks. You know, on those old British bikes, you'd always have Smith's clocks and it would say Smith's, made in England. Well, this has those old Smith's clocks. So it's got the old analog styling and the mechanicals with the thoroughly modern materials such as carbon fiber. It sounds like an enticing package. So I know that they've displayed this bike, or one of their bikes, either at the Bike Shed or the Bike Shed show. I'll just do one more little overview here on the LightSpeed bike. Here we go. This sums it up. Immerse yourself in the thrilling experience of the LightSpeed. Witness the artistry, innovation and raw power that defines every ride on this extraordinary machine. Only 185 will be built, commission only. They started building them for this new model, I think 2025. So that's 185 built, 185 horsepower, 185 kilos. Would you like one of these finely crafted, British crafted machines? If you do, you'll want to, or you'll have to, you may not want to, fork out £37,000 plus VAT. That will take it to about £44,000. It's a lot, but there's a lot of craftsmanship in this. If I had the money, I personally love the look of these. I love the fact they've used a V-twin, but still managed to get all of that horsepower and that relatively low weight from all of that. I love the look of it. I think this looks excellent bike. If you've got deep pockets, 43k, and it can be yours. And that's British industry. It's fantastic. Carrying on with the British theme, the new breed of Triumph. This is from Josh. Freddie, last week you told Mick's story of his Scottish adventure. Well, I had the pleasure of meeting him at John O'Groats, that's the most northerly point in Scotland, while I was enjoying my first ever motorcycle tour on my Triumph Speed 400. I've been riding 125s for 16 years, but this year I finally got rid of my L plates and I bought a sensible Triumph Speed 400 as a first proper bike. Inspired by stories from fellow bikers of beautiful views and great technical roads, I loaded up my little scooter with my tent and my top box, full of pans and beers, and I set off on a 6-day, 1,500 mile trip, camping my way around the north coast of Scotland, cooking prime fillet steak every night with the money that I saved by taking a tent. Josh, the magic. You've perfectly described here the magic of camping. It frees you financially. So it frees you from any financial stress of a road trip. Go as long as you like, take as long as you like. It doesn't matter. You're not thinking, oh my God, I've been traveling for 6 days and that's £80 a night accommodation. That's £500. I've only got 2 days left, otherwise I'm bankrupt. Camp, wild camp, it removes that issue completely. And that is the magic and the joy of camping. Completely lost where I was on that little rant. Money I saved by staying in a tent, not without hardship. I managed to drop my bike in some soft mud, snapping a mirror, but not leaving a scratch anywhere else. This trip has been an eye-opener for me. All I want to do every day now is get back out there and find some adventure and see more of this beautiful world that I now feel so fortunate to live in. All I can think of now is my next trip in the spring, thinking maybe of a 2,000-mile round trip to Lake Como. I was surprised how well my little bike did, and other than having to avoid motorways due to the high vibrations, it was perfect. In a couple of years, I think I may trade the Triumph for a Moto Guzzi V85 TT, have better long-haul comfort, but I think it's safe to say I'm a convert to motorcycle touring rather than just commuting. Josh. And Josh has a YouTube channel here. Check it out, Josh. I'll make sure to watch that this evening. These bikes are on a level probably with Royal Enfield. They have got so many people into motorcycling, these 400cc Triumphs. They've been a total revelation. I cannot tell you how many people have been nice enough to get in touch with me and say, you know, this is it. This is the bike to get me into biking, or someone who's been away from riding for 30 years. Seeing that 400 Triumph, that is the bike that's going to entice me back into biking. These retail at £5,345. They're almost brand new. I think they came out 2 years ago. But I found a treat for you all. You won't believe this. I found a 2025 Triumph Speed 400. It's a matter of months old, this. It's done 300 miles. And listen to this. Absolutely as new Triumph Speed 400. It's even better. 98 miles. Yes. 98 miles. I've had to put 300 miles as the listing won't even let me write as low as 98. My wife's bike, she bought it brand new in March this year, but she's just not getting time to use it due to work commitments. So this is a brand new bike, really brand new, but you're saving £1,400. That is such a rare find. That looks completely honest. £4,000. Someone will snap this up quickly. £4,000 for brand new, in essence, Triumph Speed 400. And it's been advertised, okay, maybe I'm wrong, I was going to say snapped up immediately. 4 weeks. I thought this would go immediately. Someone grab that. It's got to be worth every penny. Oh, now something polar opposite end of the spectrum, how the Americans do road trips. US road trips are simply very, very different. Everything about them is on a far, far larger scale. Take a listen to this. Look at the pics from Sabine. Freddie, the one trip I wanted to tell you about was the historic Route 66 trip that I planned to honor in my brother's memory. I did it! And my son Frank joined me. We both rode on an Indian motorcycle. I purchased a 2016 Indian Chief Vintage, and he rode on a 2024 Indian Chieftain. What a trip. It took us exactly 5 weeks and a day and 7,923 miles. Let that soak in. 8,000 miles. I think my entire trip, God, my memory's so bad, from England, from London to the Arctic Circle in Norway and back. What was that? I think it was under 5,000 miles. And that was a giant journey. I think the trip in the Jeep from London down to the Sahara Desert in Morocco, over to Lithuania, and then completing the triangle back to London, I think that was 7,000 miles. I think. I may even be wrong. It may be a bit less than that. So for this to be 8,000 miles is quite close to unthinkable. Carrying on here. We rode from Long Island, New York to Chicago, where the original route begins. From there to Santa Monica, California, and then up towards Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park, South Dakota, eastwards back home. We experienced quite a bit of rain in the first few days, massive thunderstorms, hail, extremely strong winds, but thankfully no tornadoes. My Lord, the USA is crazy. We met lovely people and experienced this beautiful country in the most exciting way possible. I had stickers made with my brother's name so we could leave them everywhere we stopped. Such fun, Sabine. Sabine, I'll do some maths here. That is, so 7,923 divided by 36. 220 miles a day. I wrote it down, I didn't do it at the top of my head. 220 miles a day, on average, every single day, over 36 days. That's what you covered. That's not taking into account any rest days. That's a huge amount of journeying. The only way you can do something like that is on a bike so phenomenal at mile munching and so comfortable and so sofa-like with its saddle that it's even possible to do those kinds of almost unthinkable miles in that time. Sabine, I now want one of these Indians. If I were to buy an Indian mile muncher, this is what I'd buy. Facebook Marketplace, 2017, so about the same vintage as yours, Sabine. Indian Springfield Thunderstroke. So this is 8 years old, and it's got that classic timeless Indian style. This is so close style-wise to one of the Indians from the 1950s. Completely unmistakable with that front mudguard. 18,000 miles on the clock. Very, very few motorbikes, very few vehicles managed to get away with a red colour other than the Italian Exotica. But with Indian, it really works. I'm the second owner of the bike. I've owned it since 2018. So just 1 year after it was new. Fully loaded touring model, I stripped down to the cruiser in less than 2 minutes by removing the windshield. Cruise control, split seat, backrest, heavy duty luggage. £23,000, brand new 8 years ago. Now it's yours, this timeless machine, £11,000. What a machine to cover distances on that would be. I would love one of these eventually, something like that. Now, 2 up on a 450cc motorbike across Europe. You may think that sounds quite mad. All of the luggage, 2 people, and some incredible European roads. How doable is it? Henry thinks it's very doable after experiencing it. Freddie Henry here. From Scarborough to Thruxton, I set off on a 50th birthday trip. I headed to Abbeville, to, sorry for my pronunciation, Limoges, then to Carcassonne to pick up my other half. We then headed to Andorra through the twisting roads to Gulf of Roses. Then after 5 days of chilling time, we headed to Sète. Then the boss flew home, so I headed to Montvertot, Alpe d'Huez, Lake Annecy, Troyes, Calais, back to Scarborough, a few ins and outs in between. 4,500 miles later, all on a single cylinder 450cc Royal Enfield Himalayan. 2 people, all the luggage, 79.6 miles per gallon. That is incredible. And not one missed beat and not one drop of oil used. It says something for these. This is the biggest difference between the new Royal Enfield Himalayan with the 450cc and the old 411. The old 411, it may have the character of an old Land Rover Defender, but for everyday usability, the new one is more than evolution, it's revolution. It makes a big difference. I may prefer the looks and the character of the 411, but for everyday use, for being an actual vehicle in itself and covering the basis of being a vehicle, covering distance, the ability to go 2 up, the ability to tour, that 450 is on another planet. Henry, delighted to hear from you. Moving on now to Martin. Is it possible, I ask all of you now, to combine reliability, workhorse-like attitude, exotica, and be a classic? Can you tick every single one of those boxes? I'm going to argue here, and I've argued this point before. Yes, you can. There may only be one bike that covers all of these bases, and I welcome any of your thoughts if you want to disagree with me here. Freddie, Martin here. Hopefully there are a couple of my pics attached of my 1980 Moto Guzzi. That will be a surprise. Moto Guzzi V50, which I restored. Martin, first off, these pics, your bike. That is a stunning, stunning work of art. I love these. I will never forget. I went to Sicily with Monica and we were walking past this old school Moto Guzzi dealer. It looked like it hadn't changed since the 1950s. And lined up outside this, I should say dealer, Moto Guzzi mechanics specialist. Lined outside you had the Sicilian mechanics smoking cigarettes, having their espresso break. and you had this lineup of red Moto Guzzi V50s. Not there for some kind of museum or to look good. No, these were all bikes being worked on, parked outside, and it was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. Monica took a pic of it, and she used to sell a few of her prints, and this was by far and away the best-selling print. People love this because the level of authenticity to see that. These bikes, and I know from all of you messaging me, these are incredibly well-built, reliable, tough and rugged motorbikes. They're easy to work on. They've got enough power and enough presence to live with on a daily basis. They are made to be a bike to be used. They're not made to be some exotica. These are bikes that are made to be used. They look excellent. Everything about these is that unicorn sweet spot between everything. If we look at Martin's as an exceptional condition one, this is the peak of what we could dream of. But the great thing about these aren't really expensive. These are genuinely attainable. And I found one here to really excite you. As I show you this, just bear this in mind, certainly for the UK. This is registered now as a historic, a classic vehicle. So you have no MOT, you don't need to have the annual check, it's too old for that. You don't need to pay road tax, it's too old for that. You don't need to pay any ULEZ charges, low emissions charges, in any city in the UK. This is the closest thing to free motoring you can possibly get, yet you get the exotica element with it. Take a look at this. 1980 Moto Guzzi V50, £2,500. Let that sink in. £2,500 for a bike that looks this good. 45 years on, I would argue that this bike is even more relevant, looks even better, if possible, than when it first came out. Moto Guzzi could sell this exact bike, certainly from a looks point of view, of course, update the mechanicals, but sell this from a looks point of view alone, put it into a dealership and it would sell. It is that timeless a design. Take a listen to this, 1980 Moto Guzzi Monza V50, all original, not messed around with, standard bike. This is what you want, not messed with. Historically registered, 20,000 miles, all working, runs brilliantly. What more do you want? What a bike. I think if I were to buy a classic motorbike, this would be so high up on my list. It may be top of my list. I've heard from so many of you over the years of how highly you rate these bikes. And it's because your opinion, I now always have half an eye on these. £2,500, I get ludicrously excited about seeing these. Imagine what you'd have to pay for 1980s Italian exotica in car form to get this level of style. But here we are. 2.5K, I'll move on, I'm gushing. I'm now over to Belgium from Antoine. Bike of the week. Freddie, I wanted something a little more exciting, a bit more passionate, more brutal. Something that would give me emotional feelings each time I have to turn. And now, I can proudly say I've found my gold star. I initially did a double take. Nothing to do with BSA here. What could be more emotional than the beautiful Triumph Thruxton 1200 RS? I have those IXIL iron head exhaust pipes, and these are screaming each time I turn on the ignition. This is a piece of art. Each time I ride it, it's always the same pattern. I ride it, I park it, then I look at it for the first 5 minutes, then I smile, and then when I go back on that beautiful classic 350 from Royal Enfield, my other bike, then it feels like you're laying down on the sofa after a hard day's work. You said when you did the review of the Triumph Thruxton, it was the love letter from Triumph to the cafe racer genre, and you were so damn right. Antoine, Belgium. Antoine, this is a special bike. And the fact that it's discontinued, that legendary name, Thruxton, is no longer in the Triumph lineup. It makes it even more special. These were produced only from 2020 to 2024. I described it when I did the review of Triumph's love letter to the cafe racers. It was the last hurrah, it was the final song, the final dance for the Thruxton. Maybe it will come back in the future, the name, but for now, it's gone. And that makes these bikes one of the proudest names ever to come out of Triumph, really desirable. 1200cc, 197 kilos and 103 horsepower. The RS is the swan song. It's it's the best Triumph Thruxton that was ever made. Forget about the ones that came before, for example, with my engine all the way back 15 years ago. No, they're not a patch on this with the 1200cc engine. This is the best one. You'd be getting the pinnacle of Triumph Thruxton if you go for this model. Take a listen to this from MCN. Leaner, stronger, and a banger in the bends. The range topping 2020 Triumph Thruxton RS. It's more than just a Thruxton R with a few fancy bits thrown on. As impressive as it ever was, the Thruxton is now an even cooler customer in its new RS guise. That extra grunt and willingness to rev adds extra sparkle to an already fast and formidable machine. And its newfound lightness, see, these important things here, they genuinely improved this. Its newfound lightness, braking power, and extra grip lets you ride the RS harder than any Thruxton before, and it loves it. I mean, we talk about Italian exotica. You want some British exotica? This is the definition of British exotica. But on top of all of the great things I've mentioned there, we're not getting some highly strung machine where you just take it out for that occasional sunny day and then you have to desperately pamper it, desperately wipe it down and make sure you don't put too much mileage on it. This is a bike that can be used every day if you're so inclined. These have an excellent reputation for reliability. It's got that 1200 engine from the Triumph Bonneville T120. That's a workhorse of an engine if need be. Understressed engine, incredibly strong, so capable. This is a bike, that rare thing that has exotica, but the usability and the reliability, the build quality of any kind of standard everyday commuter bike. It's a real sweet spot. Back in April 2024, this was £14,195. Premium bike. But now, if you want one of these bikes, bear in mind 2020 to 2024 are the only years you're going to be looking for. I guess one of the reasons Triumph discontinued these, well, they wouldn't discontinue it if it was a good seller. I could only find on Auto Trader 12 of these. 4 to 5 year production run, and there are only 12 of them available on Auto Trader. That either means they had become such bad sellers from Triumph, they decided to stop selling them, hence why there are so few online, or they are now so desirable that owners would never sell them. And I think the reality of this is 80% the case that they just weren't good sellers. They're not comfortable bikes for long distances, and they're not that practical in general. So 80% is because they weren't good sellers. 20% is, I think, because they're so special, people just want to hold on to them. But I found you all a deal here. 12 on Auto Trader, cheapest one right now, £9,000. And this comes from Superbike Factory. It's the cheapest one, but actually, this is a colour I've never seen before. This may be the colour I would pick, regardless of the fact this is the cheapest one. So you're saving about £5,000 over the 4-year period. That's how much it's dropped in value. So these hold their value really well. It very possibly won't really go down at all from here. Look at the colour of this. It's a blue-silver blend, and you combine the gold forks with that timeless front fairing, that beautiful little seat cowl on the back, and the tank in exactly the same colour. Olin suspension on the back, so you know it means business. This is possibly, in my eyes, one of the most beautiful looking bikes ever made. I could put that up on my wall and have it as a piece of art. It's that good looking. I remember riding this as well. This is a seriously accomplished machine. Very, very special. £9,000. This is not cheap, but you're getting British exotica here. I'll wrap it up there. Antoine, thank you so much for sharing your stunning Thruxton. And I found you all one for sub 10k. I think that's pretty decent. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And Raoul, everyone, I'm so sorry for my awful advice last week. Hopefully those of you who have unsubscribed, you may consider subscribing again in the future. Have a fantastic week all. I'll see you on the next one. I don't know where in the world I'm going to be, but sending all my best from here in Romania.